This is the Future of the Future show. I am your host, Mateo. Jennifer Larson, thank you so much for being here. This is a different type of episode for the audience. I met Jennifer some time ago. We did a podcast episode. It was episode 89. We talked
Oh
about
my gosh, that's
yeah.
awesome.
It's been a while. We are on episode more than 140 episodes published right now. So we
Oh,
kept
wow.
going.
Okay.
And back then we talked about diversity. We talked about your career, more than 20 years as a executive in the technology industry, mostly on business development stuff, in et cetera, et cetera. An amazing career, and we really talked about the importance of empathy, awareness, psychological safety, and so many important things
Yeah.
in the world of diversity, right? But today it's a different type of episode. Today, so I met Jennifer uh, in Minneapolis, right? And at that time, you told me, hey, you know what? We are going to open a coffee shop, right? Uh,
Yeah.
and this is what, and I was like, what? You're going to open what? A coffee shop? And you were like, yes, we made a family decision and we're going for it. And we are very excited. And we said, we should do a podcast where you
Yeah.
are in the coffee shop and
Yeah.
we talk about their experience. So that's what we're doing today. You are there at the
I
coffee
am. I'm
shop.
at Leroy. Yep.
Looks very cool. Love the skateboard in the
Yes.
back. Looks super cool. So let's get started with why? Why and how did you decide to do a coffee shop?
Yeah. It's a question I get asked a lot. So Leroy's Water Street Coffee was opened in 1993 by a 19-year-old boy named Ryan Leary. And he had this vision, which is kind of crazy when you think of 1993. Starbucks was just coming to Chicago. Like, we're in northern Wisconsin. So cafes, coffee shops, like, they weren't a thing back then. Yeah. And so I graduated in 95. So I knew of Leroy's. And then, if you rewind about 12 years ago, my husband and I bought a house here in Ephraim, Wisconsin. And 2 blocks from our house is Leroy. So my middle son and I are both early risers. We would wake up, we'd go for a run, and we'd end up here at Leroy's. And so we would, I'd get my cup of coffee, he would get his cheese Danish, and we would go out. There's a cute little courtyard that I'm looking out in front of right now, and that would be our time to connect. Having 3 boys, working a full-time career, you don't get that time to really sit down and connect with your kids. And so that was his and my time. And I ended up, chatting with the owner at the time. I gave him my name and number. And this would have been back in like 2015. And I just said, at some point in time, if you ever want to, chat, like, I didn't ask him about buying it. I just wanted to know his story. I wanted to connect with him. And so he was a little, like, oh, thanks, whatever, put in his pocket. And then in COVID, I got his contact information and I just texted him a couple of times because in 2019, he closed. He didn't reopen. He had some personal stuff going on, and then COVID happened and he really just couldn't reopen it. And so last June, he reached out to me and said, hi, I'm Ryan Leary of Leroy's Water Street Coffee. I'm looking to sell. I'm not doing real estate. I'm not putting it on the market. I don't want to deal with lawyers. But you are one of 5 that I'm connecting with. And I was like, I thought I was being punked. I thought my girlfriend had given someone my number and had said, oh, do this. It'll be really funny. And she's like, no, I didn't give anyone your number. I think it's really him. So my husband and I came and looked at it, and he had owned it for 27 years. So, and it's kind of iconic in our community. We've had plenty of people come up this summer that have said, I came in here when I was 5 with my grandpa, and I'm so happy you reopened it. So we get this opportunity, we come and look at it. It was in disarray. There was still stuff in the freezer from 2019. So it was a little bit much, but I told my husband, I said, we got to put our name in the hat. Like, if we don't put our name in the hat, we will always regret it. And like, we're probably not going to get chosen. Like, we're not going to offer this crazy high price. Like, we're going to offer what we think it's worth. And so we did. And my son was getting married the weekend that we put our purchase agreement in. And so I told Ryan, I said, here's the purchase of, you know, like, here's our offer. I have 24 hours and then I'm unavailable for 4 days because my son's getting married. So we get through the wedding, we wake up and like, you take this deep breath, right? Like, oh, I looked at my email and it says, I accepted your offer. And I was like, okay, keep breathing in. I'm like, I think we're just about a coffee shop. So that's kind of the story behind it. I mean, it was just one of those things where it's just, it was an opportunity that I think that we just couldn't pass by. And, you know, my husband doesn't even drink coffee. That's the hilarious thing. So we really didn't know what we were getting into, but it was a risk that we were willing to take because we just thought that we had to.
It's amazing.
So that's kind of the story behind it.
And there's a lot of the value for the community and the intrinsical sentimental value that it had for you. It's really about a feeling and something that meant for you and for the community.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's every late night because it took a lot. I mean, it took all fall, it took all winter, it took all spring to get this place cleaned, updated to pass an inspection. Like, there were so many things. And we live 5 hours from here. So it's not like it's in our backyard that we can go to. So it's a lot of driving across the state of Wisconsin to get here from Minnesota. And I mean, there were a handful of times where I was like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, really, what are we doing? This is insane. Like, we could be at home with our kids, you know, our middle son was a senior. I'm like, we're missing out on this time with him. And then we opened, and everyone that came in that said, thank you so much for reopening and keeping it the same. Like, that made it all worth it. I was like, this is why we did it. Because it's hard to, I know, right? I mean, it's like, and I felt bad because like the barista would be like, if I got a nickel for every time someone said it, where, you know, for us, when we were up and working, because we were behind the coffee bar, slinging shots and doing all the things that you do, you know, as a barista and figuring it out. And, but every time someone said that, I was like, thank you. Well, they would thank us for being here. And I'd be like, thank you for coming back. So it is definitely, it's been 100% worth it.
So it's been a season, right? It started, when did you start? And you're closing now for the off season, but how long did you have it open?
Yeah, so Door County, Wisconsin is very seasonal. A lot of basically our tourism is from May to October. It's an area that's kind of coined the East Coast of the Midwest. And so it's a lot of harbor villages and just very, very East Coast-ish, with beautiful views. And so a lot of people from Illinois, a lot of people from Minnesota and Missouri come up here in the summer to vacation. A lot of people have summer homes up here. And so they bring their families up, but it's once like you hit November, it dies off pretty fast. And so it just doesn't really make sense. And this actual building you can kind of see behind me. So I'm in what we call the parlor right now, but you can see the logs. This building was built in 1890 in Brussels, Wisconsin. And then it was taken over the ice of Lake Michigan in the early 1900s and was originally used as employee housing. It is not built to go through the winter. So we do close it. But yeah, May to October, every day we're open 6:30 to 2:30.
So you are someone, you're a professional in the technology sales industry, right?
Yeah.
How did you go from that to operating the coffee shop? What's the day-to-day like of operating a coffee shop?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, I guess having technology as a background, I could figure out a POS system pretty quick.
Right.
And knowing the technology part was the easy part. We hired a manager who was very smart in coffee. I did a lot of research as far as like interviewing people that had started their own coffee shop to learn like when you opened your coffee shop, what was the one thing that you didn't expect? What was the biggest surprise, right? So I did a lot of research. And then it was like finding all your vendors and getting all that set up. I mean, I joke, although it's not a joke, it's usually serious. I don't think I've had a day off all year. Like it is like weekends are working. Like I'm doing, either looking at the inventory, what do we need for ordering, doing the schedule, doing payroll, working with various vendors on different things, pulling reports from we just hired a bookkeeper. That was the best thing I've ever done in my entire life. So that's moved off, but bless you. Yes. But yeah, so it's been, we have learned so much. And I have, the whole parking lot list of questions. They're not questions, but like items to, what are we going to do different next spring? What are we going to keep the same? It's really hard when you're in this seasonal type business to change something mid-season.
Yeah.
It just, to make that change, it's very difficult. And especially with us not being here all the time, because we're in the Twin Cities in Minnesota, right? We're doing our careers, we're raising our children. I'm a caretaker for my mom.
Yeah.
So it's just like a lot of things. So to try to do something mid-season like that, we just can't do it. So I'm like, all right, put that on the parking lot list of things. We'll tackle it over the winter. So yeah, it's been a lot, but it's been great in the most exhausting way.
What is so inventory, supply chain, getting a gist of, okay, I need this by this time, and this is how much it's going to get consumed. That's the trickiest part of it, or finding the because I think you were very good at finding the right people, right? So you solved that from the onset, which many people don't.
Yeah,
and that's
true.
That's an amazing testament to you and your research and everything. So
Yeah,
you got that solved, but then on the day-to-day, what got crazy was that's the hardest part, inventory.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why the inventory is so hard is that, my husband would say, well, Tuesdays are our slowest days. And I'm like, for this month, but July is going to be different because every week it's a new group of people. It's not the same tourists coming up every single week. So to try to say Tuesdays are slow, you come to July and it's actually Wednesdays were slow. So there's trying to put a science around guessing is really hard. So we just kind of like, the majority of our product, like cups and lids and paper stuff, we order too much, fine. And having too much is better than not having enough. But then you have 1 week where it's like bonkers that you didn't expect it to be bonkers. And you're like, okay, we need to do a rush on beans because we're down on beans. And it's that, I mean, it was we will be better next season because we have data. And we didn't have data coming into this. The original owner was cash only. He did not keep track of anything. And so trying to figure out like what we needed, we kind of went in with the expectation that we're not going to get it right every week, and that's okay. And we're going to do the best that we can, and we'll be better next year. So but it worked out. I mean, everyone, just knowing it's our last day, of course, Facebook, I'm like, discounts for everyone, come in, please, and, help us, say hello, say goodbye. We do free high fives. That's on our menu. So come get your free high five for the winter. And the inventory is hard because again, it's just the audience is new every single week. So you just really don't know what you're going to get.
Do you sell coffee and then food as well, just coffee? And what's the one that gets sold the most? And did you had any surprises on what people order, or was it what you expected?
The bakery is probably the hardest because again, it's like we'll go through almond croissants like no one's business, and then the next week we won't sell one.
Wow.
So I'm like, I don't know, we wing it. But our pastries are brought in from a local baker.
Right.
So again, 1890 built is not it. Our kitchen was actually built on to that building behind me. Very small, very, very small. And so we don't really have the capacity to make anything in-house. But our baker is local and they bake it every morning and then deliver it fresh every morning or every other morning. So, so we have the pastries, we have the coffee, and then I got my Leroy's coffee mug, and then t-shirts as well. And then retail beans. We'll do the beans and grind them for people fresh. Because a lot of times when people are coming up here for the week, as much as we want them to come in every day, they don't want to, right? And I get that. So if we can give them beans to have while they're up here, that works out too. So, but that's our menu in a gist, I guess.
Love it. What do you like the most, and what do you like the least about owning a coffee shop?
Yeah. Well, I really like coffee, so that's been really nice. Like roasters will give us samples all the time because they want us to sell their beans. I don't think I've bought coffee for a year, which is awesome.
Right.
And the community, like people coming in and just being so thankful that Leroy's is back open. I had a customer this morning say, he's 20 minutes away and he will come here for a macchiato because he's like, you guys make it the best in the county. I'm just like, I will drive 20 minutes for a good macchiato. So like, to me, like hearing that's the best part. When people are just happy that it's reopened, that we kept it the same. Like the big comment that we'll get is, it's exactly like people will come in and they'll just like look and they're like, it's exactly the same. Except cleaner. And I'm like, good. So that's probably my favorite. There was this spring, a mom and her son came in, they had just got done running, and it moved me a little bit. Like this was like my son and me coming in, and I told her, I said, enjoy this time because they grow up so fast. And she goes, oh, that's so sweet. And so like that part is, I think, the best. The least favorite is that I have not had a day off all year. So I'm very much looking forward to Sunday, I think, is where we'll probably be at. You can say we're done. So
yeah. The restaurant industry is like that, right? I mean, it's people say that all the time, and now you know it. It's like, know what you're getting yourself into, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did not. We just jumped in blind, but in the best way possible. So we were happy that a lot of people will ask us, are you happy you did it? Or do you regret doing it? And I mean, I would say there were definitely times this summer where I'm like, again, what are we doing? But in the grand scheme of things, like I don't have any regrets. We're very happy that we did it. We're looking forward to like, even though we're closing today, I'm already looking forward to next spring and what that looks like for the community. And we've been able to do some donations to the community, which is huge from my standpoint. Like I love being able to give back. So having the opportunity to do that has been awesome. And that's something that I want to look at, like how do we expand that next year? So yeah, we'll see.
Very good. What was the biggest learning? If you had to tell people, the biggest lesson learned, and I know that you're probably still digesting everything. You're closing today. There will come a time where you will be able to like settle down and go like, oh wow, right? and absorb more of the experience. But so far, what's the biggest learning that you had?
That's a good question. I have not been asked that one yet. I mean, I've been in the customer service industry in one way or another, right? I mean, I look back and I was 13 years old bussing tables at the local restaurant. So I love the customer service side of things. I think the biggest thing I've learned is how to navigate the challenges. I mean, it's one thing to do it in an IT industry. It's very different when you're the owner.
Yeah.
And things will come up and you're like, okay, that's awesome that we just turned our dishwasher on and it sprayed water all over and the inspector's coming in a week. So what is our game plan for this? So I think the biggest lesson that I've learned is how to navigate those things without freaking out.
Right.
Like, right. I think 2 years ago, if that would have happened, I would have been like, like panicking. And for whatever reason this year, it's like the original owner called me. It was early April. And we were in the midst of this crazy dishwasher episode. And he's like, are you freaking out? And I'm like, no. I'm not. I'm like, there's only so many hours in a day, and we'll do what we can and we'll move forward to the next day. He's like, well, I'm freaking out for you. And I'm like, great, you do that. I'm going to bed at night and I'm going to sleep through the evening. That's perfect. But I think it's been that. It's like navigating through the things that you just can't, like, you can't plan for it, right? So we had an employee quit, no notice, mid-September. You don't have that in your plan. Like, okay, well, our plan is that someone's going to quit. Well, how are we going to, and someone made a comment. They're like, how are you going to handle that? I'm like, we'll figure it out. So it's been that. It's navigating through the challenges that you can't plan for, but you need to navigate through. And so it's try to navigate through it with grace as best you can.
I love it. I love it. How do you think? I'm thinking about your kids, right? And the example that you are giving them in terms of how much do you care about the time you spend with them, and how valuable was and your story about going there with your kid, and then, but also you're a professional, you're an entrepreneur, and the value of going for it and being an entrepreneur. Do you think about that, and do you think about everything that you are showing them as an example with everything that you're doing?
I mean, that's not like why you do it, right? But I mean, it's kind of the outcome that comes without knowing that that could be an outcome. I was actually just talking about this with someone. So when I was maybe 7, 8 months pregnant with my middle son, we were introduced to a church. Someone said, come check it out. And we fell in love with it. And I said, we left that service, and I said to my husband, I need to volunteer here. He's like, we're about to have a baby. Do you think that you should volunteer to the baby? And I was like, I'll bring the baby with. He'll be fine. And so here I am with the 2-week-old, volunteering in the kids ministry. And fast forward now, that middle child is 19. He just started college down at Drake University in Des Moines, Iowa. And he called me a few weeks ago. He's like, yeah, I just found this church. I'm going to be a small group leader. And I'm like, we're still fine. Full circle, right? So yeah, and whether we realize that we're doing it for our kids, we are. So, and he's he's my runner that I ran with, and he did work here this summer. So that was fun. Part-time, but he did a great job. And so he's the one who I think is very interested in like, hey, how did sales go? Like, where were things at? Like, how were things this way? But I do think my oldest and my youngest are definitely looking at this and going like, well, could I create my own business? And I'm like, yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. And so I do, again, it's not like why you do it, but I think it comes naturally, and it is, it's been fun to see full circle some of those things that I feel like, not that we were trying to model it, but like we were, right? And kids absorb those things, whether you think they are or not. Yeah. So it's been great from that perspective. But yeah, I do think they see that and go, oh, either mom's really crazy or, crazy in a good way, maybe.
So, Jennifer, I have one last question to you. So think about someone like my age, right? Middle age. And sometimes we are at an age where we think about being entrepreneurs and we get scared. Or what would be your advice for someone that is listening and feels like, am I like, too old for starting a business? Or if I do, what would be your message to them?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that I've been really kind of anchoring into lately is that kind of two things. So one, if you're comfortable in life, you're probably not doing it right. Yeah. And so I think if you have this idea that you want to try something, I would say 110% go for it. I mean, the worst that can happen is it can fail. Yeah. And that sounds scary, but when you fail, or, I always say first attempt in learning is really what fail stands for. So if you do fail, you're still going to learn something out of it. You're going to come out a stronger, better person, wiser for sure. And you refine and then you try it again. So I would say if you're a young person or not, like if you're I'll be 49 next month. Like if you would have asked me 5 years ago or told me 5 years ago, you're going to own a coffee shop before you're 50, I would have laughed at you. I'd have been like, wow, okay. So I say if you're comfortable, you're probably not doing it right. And if you have the idea, go for it. I was just talking to a girl who's a senior in college, and she's like, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. And I'm like, I'm going to be 49 next month, and I don't really know what I want to do with mine. And she's like, oh. So to me, it's, exiting the comfort zone is where you really, I think, start living life. And we have definitely lived life this past year. Um, so I would say go for it. I mean, the worst that can happen is it doesn't go the way that you thought, but it doesn't mean that you're not going to get a lot out of it by trying.
Beautiful. I love it. Next season, 2026, is starting on May.
Yes, so up in Door County, they do a Door County half marathon. So I need to find out the dates of that event, and we'll probably open like a day or two before that. So early May, like May 2nd, 3rd, something like that.
Very good. I will probably be doing an East Coast tour in May, June. So I will talk to you, learn more about how to get to Leroy's, and go there and enjoy a coffee.
Oh,
And
I'd love to have you here. Coffee on me, Mateo, if you come.
very good, very good. I love it. Thank you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for keeping me in mind when you reached out and you say, hey, we are almost closing on the season. I'm
Yeah.
very happy. And this is an amazing conversation as always. Looking forward to the next one.
Yes, awesome. Well, thank you so much for having me on and working it into, I know you're very busy schedule. So I appreciate it. It's always awesome to talk with you.